Hello. Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome to the Spiritual View. Glad to have people showing up today. Today we're doing our full moon ceremony for Sagittarius. And I do want to remind people that we are going to be doing a new moon ceremony for the Cancer new moon. And that will be 2 weeks from now on June 25th. So please subscribe if you want to be able to catch that. So that will be at the same time as this one was, 11 a.m. We're going to be getting the energy of the new moon almost immediately, and Jupiter will be conjunct this new moon. So we're going to have extra juice for setting intentions. So what we're going to do right now is go to Sari. Oh, forgive me. Let me introduce everyone here so that everybody can see who's here. So we have Jen with the Awakened Jen, Wendy with a spiritual view, and Sari with a spiritual view. So I'll turn this over to Sari, and we will have our clearing to start with. And let me just put our up.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. And this is a wonderful time of release. And so we're going to be talking today about the full moon in Sagittarius. And I would like to get started by asking everyone, wherever you are around the world, if you can just take a seat, close your eyes, and we're just going to take a nice, deep cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Continue to breathe deeply, letting your shoulders drop, letting your jaw relax. And notice your body, where you hold tension, and just allow your body to settle as you connect your breathing to your body. With each breath, you arrive more fully in this moment. You are safe. You are supported. And you are exactly where you were meant to be. Now imagine a very soft golden light all around you. And in this present moment, you find yourself sitting by the ocean, cross-legged in the sand. And imagine this golden light rising up from beneath you, and it moves gently, lovingly, wrapping itself around your feet, your ankles, your calves, grounding you to Mother Gaia and to the ocean. Let this golden light rise through your body, anchoring you in the present moment. As you breathe, you become aware of the energy of the full moon above you. A radiant orb of silvery white light glowing in the night sky. This is the full moon in Sagittarius. Wise, bold, truth-seeking. Her light invites you to see clearly now, to look within yourself, and to ask, what is ready to be released? Where have I been hiding or playing small? What truths am I finally ready to honor about myself, in my work, my identity, my path? As these questions settle in your awareness, allow the full moon's light to pour down over you, illuminating every part of you that is ready to be seen, accepted, and loved. As you take each breath, you begin to feel lighter. The weight of the old stories begin to lift. The pressure to conform begins to fade. You are not here to be anyone but you, and that is more than enough. Feel your heart expanding now with the truth of who you are. Feel your soul aligning with your purpose. Let your breath carry away all self-doubt and fear. Take a moment to whisper a quiet promise to yourself, something you're ready to embody more fully, a truth that you are ready to live. Breathe it in. Let it anchor into your heart. Let it come into your heart and remain. As you bask in this beautiful golden light surrounding you, sitting by the ocean, feeling Mother Gaia's love and warm support, you know you're ready to speak your truth and to release what no longer serves you. When you are ready, slowly begin to return to your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bring your awareness back into the room around you. When you open your eyes, do so with the clarity of the full moon's light and the courage to stand tall in the truth of who you are as a soul. You are ready to begin the ritual. Let the release begin.
You're muted.
Okay. So what I really want to remind everyone is that we do have a burn thing that we're doing today, a burn thing. We're doing a burning. So we're going to be journaling and burning. So these are the things that you need to have, and you have time to go get them. So it's paper, pen. If you want to do the burn, you'll need, you can either have a candle or a lighter or something. And I always have a bowl of water nearby because I have Mars in the first house. So I'm prone to let things get away from me that are fire. And we also will, I also have other things here that I utilize. So you're part of that energy as well. Even if you are not able to write things down, setting your intentions in that way will help you release those things that are going on. I do want to touch on the astrology briefly. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'll pull this up to the stage for us. This is the transits of this moon energy. And let me make this even a little bit bigger for all of us. So let me go here so you can see my arrow. This is actually going to be a beautiful opportunity for us. We do have the, this is at 20 degrees. I actually set it for the time just as we started today. So the moon is actually moved on to 24 degrees. The reason I did that is because we also are going to be moving into a fire grand trine with Mars at 26 degrees, Chiron at 26 degrees in Aries, and the moon is going to be at 26 degrees in about 4 hours. So we will then be in a grand fire trine. And to me, that is an opportunity to burn away the impurities. So this is that perfect time for that energy. The other thing I wanted to talk about with all of this energy going forward is, let me just move this out of the way a little bit more. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about with this energies is that if we go back to December 1st, when the new moon was in Sagittarius. That was an opportunity for us to set intentions. I actually set intentions for traveling, and I've been out of the States a couple of different times because that's foreign travel for me. And so with those opportunities that we had, we also had other things that were happening. Like we had all of the retrogrades going on. Mercury was retrograde, ended up being retrograde twice during that time frame. Mars was in its shadow from Scorpio season on. We had the retrogrades that happened in March. And we still had all of the energy of it coming out of its shadow. It's not actually going to be finished until Mars leaves Leo, because that was one of the areas that it was retrograding in. So we have just had a really, really long 6 months of having to deal with most of it relationship based. And it was interesting that the new moon in Sagittarius was at 9 degrees. And that was a 9-degree mark that happened with like 5 new moons in a row, starting with Scorpio, moving forward. And at that time, Mars was in its shadow, which is the ruler of Scorpio. So it's interesting that we've had all this energy of changes going through, and now we're getting to the point of releasing that energy of all of the things that we had to learn, that we had to go through. It was very ugly. I feel that it was a lot of personal relationships with Mars in Cancer, a lot of family related things that were going on, and us now getting to the point where we release that. And I will say that I've known the last release that when I was gone, we had a release that we did, and I actually ended up doing it on the recording with someone. And it was so powerful that now their relationship with their family has changed. They release a lot of the emotional baggage that you have with family. And now they are able to reconcile with their family, which is just beautiful energy, beautiful energy. So that is what I want us to look at, is all of the things that we've gone through over the past 6 months, to take a look at what is no longer in our energetic vibration anymore. We need to move on. We need to release. There was a lot of pain. It wasn't easy. Even when you know that there's going to be tough times, it's not, you understand that there's lessons that you have to learn, and you're like, okay, oh, Venus is going retrograde. Okay, I know that there's going to be problems. And then it hits you. And it's really far more difficult than we expect, because it's such a personal planet. And Mercury and Venus were retrograde at the same time. Mercury's lessons are really not usually as severe. They're more opportunities, depending on how you look at that. But Mercury and Venus being retrograde at the same time was very, very much a message, because also during that time, does everybody remember March? We had the retrogrades, we had things going over the North Node. We also had eclipses, all in that energy going on then. So it was very big energy, and it was moving us into a higher spiritual level. That's what all of those 9-degree finishing up of those new moons. And now we're getting ready to go into a much higher level. So this is what I think we need to be looking at as far as this higher thing that we're going to with the Sagittarius energy, which is the bigger picture. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to turn this over to Jen, and she is going to be doing a channeled message for us. So let me go ahead and take this down first. Remove that and go to our I'll let you do it. I won't touch it. Go ahead.
Whoop. All right. How did you get full on the screen? Because I like it like that.
There you go.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So I have prepared a channeled message and activation for this Sagittarius full moon. Let the fire of truth burn through illusion. Let your breath steady the storm. The energy of this Sagittarius full moon arrives like an arrow cutting through the fog, a wild truth seeker, a flame bearer, a liberator. It does not come to coddle us, it comes to awaken us. The moon burns in the sign of the philosopher and the visionary. It asks us not only to look farther, but to also see clearer. Not to chase the horizon, but to finally claim the truth that has always lived inside of our bones. Sagittarius energy is expansive, but not in the way that overwhelms. It expands us by breaking down the false borders we built around what we think is possible. And so, for the first truth we're asked to honor is simple, but it's sacred. You're not here to be tossed around by the energy. You're here to anchor the light, to breathe through the chaos, to choose stillness in a storm. There's a false story many of us have been holding, silently but deeply, a belief that the blessings, the love, the future that we want are just out of reach, reserved for those more worthy, more healed, more prepared. But that story is done. This moon burns it down. We are remembering that the divine favor is not handed out selectively. It's activated through alignment, through remembering that we are the ones we've been waiting for. This moon reminds us you don't earn your blessings. You receive what you receive what you're brave enough to allow. And here's another shift rising through this fire. You don't have to push so hard. You don't have to force what is meant for you. You don't have to wrestle the current to move forward. What if it's okay to trust that you're already in motion? What if the letting go was more powerful than the striving ever was? This full moon opens the gates. And just like Jericho, it asks us to lift our voice, not to beg, but to declare. The walls are coming down. The barriers to your next phase are not there to stop you. They are there to be broken. We are standing at the threshold of destiny, but not the one our ego scripted. This is the destiny that opens when we surrender the version of the story that we've outgrown. We are being called to shift timelines, not by running towards the light, but by releasing what dims us. And this will take humility. It will take self-responsibility. It will take refusing to charge the divine with blame for every detour, and instead ask, where have I avoided my own becoming? This moon is not asking for martyrdom. It is asking for maturity. The kind of maturity that chooses to face the shadow without projecting it, that chooses to take ownership without shame. We are being asked now to release the soul contracts that have expired, the karmic ties that feel like constant challenges. They have served their purpose. The ones who tested your strength the most, they were the teachers, but the class is now over. You do not have to keep the bind once the lesson is learned. It is time to untangle loyalty from limitation. And what happens in the body when we truly let go? We breathe, we expand, we prosper. This is the paradox of the Sagittarius full moon. When you release the fight, you rise. When you let go of what you've carried, you finally have space to receive. This is the sacred fire within us, one that cannot be outsourced, borrowed, or begged for. It is the flame of discernment, the ability to tend to our own thoughts as we would tend to a garden. It is time to weed out the stories that choke us, the fear-rooted thoughts, the ancient spirals, and the internal critics, because your mind is the soil where your future is planted. And from that clearing, something returns. A part of your soul that you abandon in the chaos begins to come home. You are not ascending by bypassing your humanity. You are ascending by integrating it, by facing what you wanted to avoid, by completing the loop, by showing up where you once fled. This is where your freedom lies. And finally, know this. Every act of love you've ever offered, every time you gave without knowing it would be returned, every step you took in integrity, even when no one saw you, it mattered, and it is returning to you. Not because the universe is keeping score, but because energy always finds its echo. The goodness you planted is now the ground that you will walk upon. Your next phase is not a reward, it is a reflection. You are not broken. You are burning beautifully into who you've always been. So this fire clears the path and the arrow of your truth takes flight. Declare your becoming, speak your resurrection, and activate your flame. So the activation declarations are, my thoughts are seeds that bloom. I support myself in the process of ascension, and my own goodness attracts good things, opportunities, and experiences. All right, so with that, we can move over to Wendy.
Okay. Hi. Okay, so I pulled some cards for this full moon, and I pulled 3 cards from the Moonology Oracle cards, where we've been, where we are, where we're going. I also pulled a card from the Enchanted Map Oracle of what is hidden, and I pulled one from the Cosmic Journey Oracle of what the light is shining on. So I'll start with where we've been. Surrender to the divine. It's the full moon. The very word climax brings all sorts of ideas and images to mind. Agreed? But it really is the feeling of this card. Life is coming to a head, a point, a conclusion, or a turning point. There may be some kind of change and possibly even some sort of emotional explosion. Tune into your emotions and see what they're telling you. They're very likely close to the surface, no matter when in the moon cycle you've pulled this card. Matters will soon conclude, and you'll find out whether or not your wishes are going to come true. The odds are in your favor, and this is a positive card, but you may need to work harder than usual to keep cool as events unfold. So this is what we've just come out of. Okay, where we presently are is the full moon in Sagittarius. Are you thinking too much about the details of your dilemma? Fretting over minutia can be counterproductive, or perhaps you're being all talk and no action. This card is a reminder that while it's good to think things through, sometimes you need to step back and look at the bigger picture. What do you see about your current situation? What's the most positive thought you can have about it? Now's the time to count your blessings, even if you don't yet have exactly what you want. This card is also a reminder that we often have to take a few risks and go with uncertainty on this journey called life. So try to keep an open mind about what's for the best. The universe could surprise you. Okay. And now where we're going is the blue moon. Believe in the impossible. As the saying goes, some things happen only once in a blue moon. In other words, hardly ever. Drawing this card suggests that you're about to get a rare chance and that something one-off could well be about to happen. This card is a very positive sign if you've felt like you're hoping for too much or asking too much of the universe. Whatever you are asking about, well, it might only happen once in a blue moon, but it can happen. However, with this rare opportunity before you, it's important that you believe in it. If you convince yourself that whatever you're asking for and can never go in your favor, then guess what? It won't go in your favor. So be grateful for this card, which is a reminder to believe in your dreams. I would say that also goes with trusting your intuition, trusting yourself. Okay. All right. So what is hidden is rock bottom. As difficult as it may be to accept, it seems that you've reached a point where you can go no further in the same manner in which you've been doing things. Perhaps you've hit a proverbial brick wall or experienced a deep sense of loss and don't know where to turn. The old way of doing things must be discarded fully in order to move onward and upward. A new direction and new strategy are called for. The only way out is through surrender. Accept things as they are and admit that you have no idea what to do next. If you wait in that heartfelt moment of release, then a stairway will appear like magic and show you the way to higher ground. The rock bottom card is a sign that a miracle is about to occur, but only if you let go completely. And I know we've talked about that before, just kind of surrendering to the moment. Okay. What the light is shining on. Trust and act accordingly. How would you act if you absolutely knew the universe had even more in store for you than you could imagine? What would be your next step now? Whatever we think we want typically comes from our small selves, and that's not always in alignment with our divine destiny unfolding. Think back to when you've made significant leaps. Where did the support come from? Consider what kind of allies, resources, and even synchronistic opportunities have opened up only after you've acted. The universe is always nudging us forward and revealing itself in our crazy ideas and perfect nature. Trust. I like that. All right, so Dawn is going to take us into the ritual. I'm going to go ahead and start.
Okay. Thank you, Wendy. So what I want to do before I actually light the candle, because I don't want to have the candle being lit all the time, that I want to give you ideas as to what to write and release to give to move forward. This Sagittarius energy, and it's a lot about trusting yourselves, because Sagittarius is very much about philosophy and belief and believing in ourselves. And one of the things I wrote down, and this is to give you an idea, is I want self-sabotaging carelessness or behavior lifted from me. I'm releasing that. So there are things that we do in our lives that, oh, that doesn't matter, or I don't really need to get that done. Things like that. And then in the end, you know that it's something that you should have completed. And we're all in that process of completing now as we're moving forward into this new energy. Also, to give up overcoming excess. Jupiter is about expansion. And sometimes too much of a good thing is not necessarily a good thing. So recognizing that you don't, how do I want to say this? It's part of what we're doing in this whole process is learning self and taking care of self without we don't need, it's like, if I have enough food to eat today, if the whole village has enough to eat, it's a good day. So that's the idea that I want you to take forward as part of you being your own person. You're not about your self-sovereign. The sovereignty is about self, and it's not about you being sovereign over someone else. That's the easiest way to remember it. You are taking responsibility for yourself, and self-care is extremely important now. We have some really, really tough astrology that's right on our doorstep. And there's things that are going to be coming out that we're not going to understand. We just need to trust, be that observer person standing back from things, and recognize that as part of your own self. Sometimes you have to turn off the brain and let the heart speak for this. And Sagittarius is very much about that energy. So also give up, as part of this grand fire trine of Cheroklo and Mars and the moon, give up that hurting myself and hurt others' energy. It's so easy sometimes to be overly blunt with someone when it would have been just easier to just not say anything and let that wash over you and not get involved in any discussions that you're not going to change anybody's mind now. Everybody's kind of in their own energy of what their beliefs are, and let them have their beliefs. My personal opinion is we're all going to be finding stuff out. And most of us are not going to like some of the stuff that we find out, that we have to give ourselves grace and other people grace. Don't be any I told you so energy. It's just fine. We're passing that on. We're moving past that. We don't need to hang on to that energy because we're going so much higher. So those are the things I really wanted to express. And the fact that I feel like we're going into such a higher level of energy. There's so many, I'm like has anybody had ear buzzing or things like that where they're to me, it's just been amazing that I'm like, oh my gosh, the vibrational level of everything. And we have all this activity with the sun and, all the resonance that's going on. So the earth is moving higher and she's taking us with her. We just have to learn to accept that. So allow is a big part of this. So we're going to go ahead and walk through this energy. I did want to just mention, I had a friend this morning say something that I was so taken by. Let me give that to you. Hold on. And this is how she said this about this new moon energy. I mean, full moon energy, forgive me. It feels like we've been circling old wounds, and some of us are attempting to heal. Perhaps I feel this because it's my experience too. Yet I have to believe I'm getting somewhere for my sanity. Jupiter has us thinking philosophically, and the mutable moon may guide us to new perspectives. So I thought that was just such a perfect way for to look at all of this energy of us in everything that we've been going through, right? So let's go ahead and I will start this energy with lighting the candle. And I'm using something, this is something I think it was Albuquerque, I think I got this. So in my travels are showing up in the stuff today because there's a few things I wanted to share with you. So we are lighting the candle and asking for Archangel Michael, Archangel Sandalphon, Archangel Metatron, and especially Archangel Uriel, who I think is very much giving us messages in this time of things moving forward. So this is our initiation of this whole energy of this ritual. Is we start by lighting the candle. And as part of that, I want to incorporate other sensations with this. So you're part of what I am doing. Even if you're watching a recording, we're all part of this together. We're in a very quantum field right now. So I usually like to incorporate all the senses. This is actually, it's flower, Florida water is actually what this is. And it's a beautiful smell. It's a very cleansing energy. And to me, it also cleanses the mind. I like to do this right before I read tarot so I can clear my senses when I'm focusing on what the cards are saying. I also want to incorporate sound. So I'm going to utilize this nice little Tibetan bowl for all of us to clear our vibration. So what you have decided to release, whether you have written it down or not, we want to feel those energies. So I want you, if you have written them down, and I've shared some of mine with you, I want you to have your paper, and I'll have you fold it a little bit because I don't like the idea of having it so big. So as we do this, I wanted to have us take a journey for us to go forward and honor this full moon. So I want you to close your eyes. And we are going to the ocean today in honor of Jupiter in Cancer. And we are starting at a beach house. We're standing on the porch, listening to the wind chimes that are hanging nearby. We're looking out over a dark sky with the brightness of the moon. which is hiding actually some of the stars from our view. So bright, shining on the water. We will take our paper with us, and we will carry it with us down the steps, off the porch, and walk along the boardwalk. And as we go to the bottom of the stairs, we remove our shoes so we can walk on the sand. We leave them by the steps and enjoy the sand on our feet as we walk over the dunes and move towards the beach. We see the waves coming in, and there's beauty in the moment that we just stop and enjoy the feelings and sensations, listening to the water coming on to the shore and waves crashing against each other, the smell of salty air and the feel of the wind against our face. Take a moment to take a breath and enjoy what beauty there is out in the world. We continue walking along this beach with the sky slowly changing to darker shades of blue in the night sky. There are clouds slowly moving across the face of the moon. In the distance, we see others walking along the beach as we approach a fire that is burning in a little cove, sheltered slightly by a cliff that catches the shadows from the fire. More and more people gather, and we greet many friends and welcome in new members. We are comfortable together. We begin to form circles around the fire as we make room for more and more people. The wind has quieted down, and we hear the gentleness of the waves now. The moon seems larger in the sky, and again is reflecting off the water, almost like a pathway. Suddenly, we see the three moon goddesses appear. Selene, for this full moon. Artemis, the huntress, for the crescent moon. And Hecate, for the dark of the moon. Selene steps forward in welcome as she asks us to press our paper to our hearts. Release all of the energies that have blocked you by pouring the emotions into the paper. Feelings of anger, sadness, inadequacy, none of these were meant to stay with us. We have gone through these lessons so that we can move on from the karmic circles in this life and in past lives. Send the emotions through the paper, and then send the emotions onto the fire to be purified and released. Allow the light of the moon to cleanse away the mixed energies and leave behind a fresh new beginning. Artemis steps forward and speaks of the archer of Sagittarius, taking aim at higher truth and vibration, being able to extend our goals even farther than we thought, just as an arrow would lift and carry dreams beyond what we could even imagine. Artemis herself is a huntress with her own bow and arrows and asks us to take action as the moon phase changes, and we will take steps towards what the full moon has illuminated. Artemis also encourages us to act between the phases of the new moon and the full moon, all part of a cycle we cannot ignore, just as the tide cannot ignore the demands of the moon. The dark moon goddess Hecate opens her hand and reveals her keys. These are some of her special symbols, as she can open any door on any dimension. She asks that you picture a key in your mind and focus on the image for a moment. The shape, the size, the color are all unique to your imagination. Memorize the way it shines in your mind and know this key will always belong to you. It opens doors to knowledge long forgotten, to places we once belonged, and to friendships that were formed to help us grow. One key can open many doors. The moon goddesses have a surprise for us. In this season of Jupiter in Cancer, there is another ancient goddess to be recognized, once long forgotten. She rises from the ocean and moves toward the fire. This is Sedna, a Nordic goddess of the sea. Uranus will awaken her powers as it slips into Gemini. Her power is unmatched in the ocean. The creatures hear and obey her call as her body was part of their creation. What a moment we will witness when divine nature takes control. Sedna smiles and nods in greeting with the moonlight shining on her dark hair. She slowly retreats back towards the ocean as she is here only to be recognized for now. Selene expresses her gratitude for such a visit and allows Artemis and Hecate to reform their circle around the fire. We welcome all. We thank all and are grateful for the angels and guides who help us along our paths. Please return, clear, and release at your own fires, and return at the next new moon in Cancer, the domicile of the moon, in a conjunction with Jupiter. So we can slowly open our eyes. And one of the things I want to show you is when I was in Warsaw, I picked up at it was called a lapidarium was the name of it, but it was like basically a kind of like an antique store. So I came across these keys, and this is the one I chose for today. And you may not be able to see this, but it almost has a rainbow look to it when you see it up close. There's a little bit of a rainbow in some of the colors on the key. So to me, this is what's symbolizing for us the ability to open any door. So what we're going to be doing is realizing that because we have released, it clears blockages for us moving forward. And to me, that is what is the most important thing as we utilize this energy. So let's go ahead, as we held this to us before, and hopefully you'll understand why we pour our emotions into this, because we're purifying it as we burn this energy. I am going to do a little bit of ripping because it feels good. So if you are not allowed to have a fire where you are at, feel free to rip it into tiny pieces and to wash it away. The toilet is perfect for that kind of thing because it's gone forever. But I do like to rip it into pieces to such an extent that I'm still able to burn it, but this beautiful energy. And being that we are in this full moon of a Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, what a perfect time to get rid of this energy by fire. I do have my bowl of water available. So now take a deep breath and raise your candle. And we will ignite and burn away all of those energies that we're releasing. And I have unplugged my smoke alarm. It's still burning as it sits on top of the fire. Actually, I do like the smell of that burnt energy, because it feels like that is really saying something for all of us. So now it is time to close our ceremony. And we do that by thanking the archangels who have protection and guided us, and also to the moon goddesses, and to Sedna, who presented herself. She is going to be very, very much a part of the astrology in the next month. She's going to make an appearance. And I firmly believe there will be storms and lots of other things at sea. So I wanted to introduce her to you because she is going to be playing a big part in our future. So now is time. Blow out the candle. And that signals the end of our ritual. So thank you for coming. I do want to remind you that we are going to be doing a new moon ritual for the Cancer new moon in 2 weeks at 11 Eastern AM, same time as this was. And of course, you can always join us by recording. We do have our live on Thursday at 7 Eastern in the evening. So you're welcome to come to that. We talk a little bit of the astrology, and then we do readings for the people that are live with us. So that's wonderful. And we will have Denise joining us because she was our Wild Card Wednesday person. So I'm very excited about that. So thank you so much for joining us. And again, if you want to catch the next one coming up, please subscribe so that you will get notified that we're going to be doing that. And we're sending you nothing but love and joy for the remainder of the next 2 weeks until we do the new moon ceremony. So I will say goodbye for now. And thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate it and are so appreciative of everyone who comes. Thank you so much. Bye.